You think you've seen every great sci-fi movie from the 90s? Think again. Because while everyone was busy talking about The Matrix, Terminator 2, and Jurassic Park, a whole wave of brilliant, ambitious, and absolutely mind-bending sci-fi movies got buried under the box office dust. So today, we're diving deep into the neon heart of the 1990s, a time when practical effects were king, soundtracks slapped hard, and sci-fi dared to be weird. Stick around till the end, because the #1 movie on this list literally inspired The Matrix, and most people still haven't even heard of it. Let's rewind the tape and rediscover the 10 most underrated sci-fi movies of the 1990s. We're kicking this list off with something gritty, cold, and terrifying: Screamers. Based on a short story by sci-fi master Philip K. Dick, the film is set on a desolate planet torn apart by war. A small group of soldiers are protected by their ultimate weapon, autonomous, self-replicating killing machines called Screamers that burrow underground and shred any life form they detect. The only problem is, the Screamers have been evolving on their own. They've started creating new models that mimic their targets, like a wounded soldier or a crying child, to lure people into a trap. Every minute feels tense. You don't know who's human, who's machine, and who's next. And that's exactly why this movie still slaps, even with its 90s B-movie look. Despite its brilliant concept, Screamers was a box office failure, getting lost in a crowded sci-fi market. If you love claustrophobic sci-fi horror, this one's an underrated gem you must see. After that intense opener, it's time for a dash of high school nostalgia and fun. At number 9, we have The Faculty. This film is a glorious teen horror sci-fi mashup brought to you by the director of From Dusk Till Dawn, Robert Rodriguez, and the writer of Scream, Kevin Williamson. A group of typical high school stereotypes, the jock, the cheerleader, the nerd, and the drug dealer, discover that their teachers are being replaced by parasitic aliens in a classic body snatchers scenario. The movie joyously embraces its tropes while constantly winking at the audience. It boasts a brilliant ensemble cast, and the highlight is the paranoia-fueled scene where the students use homemade street drugs to test for alien infection, a great homage to the tension in The Thing. The Faculty is pure 90s fun, light, nostalgic, and the perfect breather before the countdown gets darker. Now we need an action tempo bump. At number 8 is the best science fiction film starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, TIMECOP. Set in 2004, where time travel has become a reality, Van Damme plays Max Walker, an officer for the Time Enforcement Commission. His job is to chase down criminals who are traveling into the past to illegally gain wealth or power. Beyond the kicks and explosions, the sci-fi plotting here is surprisingly solid. The film delves into the moral dangers of altering history and the grandfather paradox. It blends high-octane action with a compelling core story driven by Walker's emotional drive to save his wife. TIMECOP is pure popcorn sci-fi, fast, flashy, and surprisingly heartfelt. It's that perfect mix of 90s action swagger and clever temporal storytelling. From time travel to outer space, what happens when the first signal from aliens changes everything? At number 7, we have the brilliantly executed alien contact thriller, The Arrival.
The first signal is definitely sky-based, but this one is Earth-based. Something's going on here, Sean.
Before Amy Adams ever translated alien language, Charlie Sheen uncovered an extraterrestrial conspiracy. In The Arrival, he plays a radio astronomer who intercepts a powerful, undeniable deep space signal. When he tries to report it, he's immediately fired, discredited, and convinced that a massive conspiracy is underway. But here's the twist. The aliens are already living among us. The film isolates its hero completely, forcing him to battle a global conspiracy armed with nothing but his intellect and a satellite dish. The subtle details, like the aliens' eerie reverse-bending knees, make it genuinely unsettling. The Arrival is a smart, slow-burn thriller. No giant ships, no laser fights, just pure tension and creeping paranoia. It's more X-Files than Independence Day, and that's exactly what makes it so good. Now it's time for the claustrophobic horror spike this list was waiting for. At number 6, the Canadian indie masterpiece, Cube.
Why would they throw innocent people in here? Are we being punished?
There's a way in here, so there's gotta be a way out.
6 strangers wake up inside a mysterious cube-shaped maze, each room rigged with deadly traps, and no one knows how they got there. No CGI, no flashy effects, just pure tension and genius simplicity. Cube is like a logic puzzle from hell. Every sound, every step, every calculation could mean the difference between life and death. There's no villain, no clear reason, just a merciless psychological experiment that forces strangers to use their wits to survive. It's minimal, it's brilliant, and it inspired a whole generation of sci-fi thrillers from Saw to Escape Room. If you think low budget means low quality, think again. But what if you could relive someone else's life, their memories, their pain, their fear? This one's criminally underrated, none other than Strange Days.
I am your main connection to the switchboard of the soul. I'm the magic man.
Set in a near-future Los Angeles, Strange Days explores a breakthrough technology that lets people experience someone else's memories as if they were their own. Imagine plugging a cable directly into your brain and feeling another person's life, their joy, their heartbreak, their darkest moment. Now imagine that tech falling into the wrong hands. Yeah, that's Strange Days. It's not just science fiction, it's a raw piece of social commentary. The film predicted our obsession with surveillance, media violence, and the way we consume trauma as entertainment. When it released, Strange Days was a box office disaster, earning under $8 million against a $42 million budget. It nearly derailed Catherine Bigelow's career. But its unflinching look at voyeurism, police brutality, and racial tension was simply too real for its time. Today, it feels disturbingly relevant, dark, emotional, and decades ahead of the curve. Now we're getting deep with number 4, a film that suffered from some of the worst timing in movie history. Released in 1999, just a few months after The Matrix, it was completely overshadowed. That film is The 13th Floor.
It doesn't need a user to interact with it to function. While my mind is jacked in, I'm walking around experiencing 1937. My body stays here.
A computer programmer becomes the prime suspect in his boss's murder, and the only clue lies inside a groundbreaking virtual reality simulation of 1937 Los Angeles. As he jacks into that digital world searching for answers, he begins to uncover a terrifying truth about his own reality. Where The Matrix was a high-octane action spectacle, The 13th Floor is a stylish, slow-burn neo-noir thriller. It's less about kung fu and more about existential dread. It dares to ask one dizzying question. If you discovered your world wasn't real, what would you do? And worse, what if the people inside your simulation started figuring it out too? Sadly, it was buried under Neo's shadow and his iconic trench coat. But looking back now, The 13th Floor feels like The Matrix's thoughtful, quieter cousin, ending with a twist that'll leave your mind spinning. Alright, time to slow things down, because Gattaca isn't about spaceships or explosions, it's about human potential.
They don't recognize me. I don't recognize you. They won't believe that one of their elite could have suckered them all this time.
In a dystopian future ruled by genetic discrimination, your DNA decides your destiny. Our protagonist Vincent is an invalid, born naturally, with genetic flaws, but he refuses to accept his fate. Determined to reach the stars, he takes on the identity of a valid, risking everything to chase his dream of space travel. The film's world is sleek, minimal, and hauntingly beautiful, a society built on perfection, but empty of humanity. And at its heart, Gattaca is a story about defiance, about proving that willpower matters more than genetics. Its emotional peak comes when Vincent faces his genetically superior brother, a moment that captures pure determination, the triumph of will over design. Gattaca gives us a breath between the chaos, a reminder of what makes us truly human. Before we dive back into the mind-bending worlds of our top 2, at number 2, we have a film so strange, so unsettling, and so unmistakably 90s it could only have come from the master of body horror himself, David Cronenberg. This is 1999's EXISTENZ. The world's greatest game designer becomes the target of assassins while showcasing her new virtual reality creation. To survive, she and a marketing trainee plug into the system using a game pod, a fleshy, organic console that connects directly to the user's spine. What follows is a dizzying, paranoid descent where the line between the game and reality completely dissolves. Released the same year as The Matrix, EXISTENZ offered a darker, more grotesque vision of virtual reality, a world of biotechnology, mutated creatures, and weapons made of bone and teeth. It was too bizarre for mainstream audiences and flopped at the box office. But if you've ever wondered where Inception or Ready Player One got their roots, here's your answer. A truly mind-bending experience you absolutely have to see. And finally, the moment we've been building toward the most mysterious, mind-twisting finale of them all. Before The Matrix, before Inception, before every reality-bending movie you've ever seen, there was Dark City, a haunting, visionary film that redefined what sci-fi could be. Directed by Alex Proyas, this neo-noir masterpiece follows John Murdoch, a man who wakes up with amnesia in a city that never sees daylight, accused of a brutal murder he can't remember. But the real mystery is the city itself. Every night at midnight, time stops, and a group of pale psychic beings called the Strangers reshape the city and rewrite everyone's memories. It's eerie, it's stunning, and deeply philosophical, asking one unforgettable question: what if your entire life was just someone else's experiment? The cinematography is mesmerizing, the score haunting, and its influence undeniable. Dark City didn't get the love it deserved back in '98, but true sci-fi fans know this is where it all began. So, how many of these underrated gems have you actually seen? And which one do you think deserves a proper reboot in today's world? Drop your thoughts down below. I read every single comment. If you enjoyed this trip down the weird side of the 90s, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and stay tuned because next time, we're diving into the sci-fi shows of the 2000s, the ones that were way ahead of their time. This is ReelRanks, where we don't just talk movies, we revive them.